I've often been asked what I thought was the most important ingredient in winning. And I think there are two things. I really wanted to win, and I was a negative thinker. Now, I think you've got to be a negative thinker to win. Now, this is where my idea on thinking negatively comes in. Now, think about this. He who hesitates is lost. You know, that's a great American cliche. I'd like to know how many of those guys who followed that went in and screwed everything up because they didn't know what the hell was. He who hesitates is lost is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. You know, what I like is fools rush in where angels fear to trod. You know, that's what I like. And so let's think about not negative people. You know, negative people never want to admit anything good. I'm talking about the ability to use negative thinking for positive results. Now think about this. You can take yes and you can turn it into no, but it's very difficult to do so. Confidence is usually a result of not knowing everything that you're confident about. And so I spent my entire time coaching from a negative standpoint. And when I look back on it, I thought I used 4 words, all negative, all extremely helpful in winning. Whatever it was that you're involved with where you got to win. You're in a business where you got to win. You're in a very competitive business. And you have got to win. Well, here are 4 words that I think will help anybody win. The first word is if. If we do. If we don't do. We can win if. We're going to lose if. If is a great word. No is the best word in the history of the English language, but if is a great word. And then there's a second word, unless. We can win unless, however you choose to say it. Or, we're going to lose this unless. So, if and unless, I think, lead to a lot of positive results. Help us lead to positive results. Instead of just saying, hey, we're going to beat these guys. You know, that's those positive thinkers. Now, I'd love to coach against those guys. You know, because they didn't let losing enter their mind. I think it's important to understand why you lose at anything. And then eliminate the reasons why you lose. Also, the other 2 words are don't. And I had a simple thing. How many of you played basketball? Men, whatever. All right, think about this in basketball. This is an absolute brilliant idea in basketball. You guys are my team. And I say to you, okay, we're home tonight. We're in white. Those are in red. Don't throw the ball to anybody wearing a red shirt. Is that brilliant? I mean, no turnovers. We don't make a turnover because none of you threw the ball to anybody wearing. Look at the color. I mean, you don't have to like Johnny. I don't like the son of a either, but he's wearing a white shirt. Throw it to him. It's so simple. And it's don't throw the ball to the wrong color. Well, and then the other word is can't. Now, society in general doesn't like the word can't. I love the word can't. You know, you can't do this. If you do, we get beat if you do this. You can't. You can't shoot. I mean, I've never hesitated to tell players that they couldn't shoot, that they can't. You know, because every time they take a shot, it's a defensive rebound. I'm a great baseball fan. I mean, I'm really love the game, and I played it, and I wish I'd have played it more, and I like it, and I just like all of the things that go into baseball, the substitutions, the relief pitchers, everything. And Musburger and I are doing a game between Kansas State and Baylor. Maybe the worst game I've ever seen. And it's a Big 12 game of the week that we're doing. And the halftime score is 31-18. And right before the end, Musburger is great. I hope you all enjoy Musburger with football and basketball because he is really good and he's got a great sense of humor. Right before the end of the half, Brent says, "Coach, you're a great baseball fan. Everybody knows that. Do you remember when Casey Stengel once said, 'Can anybody here play this game?'" And that's how we ended the broadcast at the half. Well, now that kind of gives me a license to steal in the second half with Musburger already talking about how bad the game is. And so toward the end of the game, Kansas State finally gives the ball to their center. I mean, hell, they might as well have been playing with 4 guys on offense because this kid was pretty good and they never got him the basketball. But he finally gets it, makes a 3-point play. Kansas State's ahead by 3 with a minute and 50 seconds left. I'm watching the clock. And Baylor comes down. They take a bad shot in 6 seconds. So with a minute 44, Kansas State gets the ball back. 3-point lead into 1-1, minute 44 to go. Run the clock as far as you can, draw a foul. Kansas State brings it down in 4 seconds. Kid takes a shot, misses it. You get the rebound call, timeout. Brent says, "What do you think, Coach?" I said, "Brent, it's time like these when I close my eyes and I just say a little prayer. Thank you, God, for all the smart players I got to coach." Well, that really pissed off the Big 12. So they wanted to complain about it. And so our boss at ESPN says, "What should I tell them?" I said, "Now, I'll tell you what to tell them if you'll tell them." And he said, "Well, I'll tell them. What is it?" I said, "Tell us something just to get better players." The moment of great success is an important part of the ability to be good, because that moment of great success always brings about a laxity in thought, in preparation. People can ride with success a lot easier than they can with figuring out how to continue it and keep it going. And we all have a tendency, when we're very successful at something, to kind of pat ourselves on the ass, and then pretty soon, we get beat by somebody that shouldn't beat us. And I think the greatest test of the ability to win is after you've been very successful and you can continue to be successful. I like that phrase I gave you a little bit ago, that confidence usually is a result of not knowing everything about what the hell you're getting into. And so I've had, as I told you, I've had a lot of really, really enjoyable moments with teams. Players that I've coached, players that I've been around. It's been a great experience for me. I'd like to think that I could start coaching over again, because I think if I did, I think I'd do a better job, because I think I'd understand much better what it takes to continue winning. Lucky wins once in a while. Lucky wins once in a while. Correct planning wins most of the time. To be able to win, you've got to eliminate why you lose. If you eliminate why you lose, there's only one other thing you can do, and obviously that's win. What you tolerate, your players are going to be satisfied with. The best teachers I've ever known are intolerant people. They don't tolerate very much. Therefore, their students are very much aware of that. What you tolerate, they'll be satisfied with. Intolerant people make great leaders. I am reminded of 2 things here, and one, reminded of a story. Grandpa and grandson walking down the road to market, and a guy stops and says, "Grandfather, Grandson should be riding the mule. So he helps his grandson up on the mule. They go a little bit further. Another guy stops him and says, grandson, grandfather should be riding the mule. They switch positions. Grandfather's riding the mule. Go a little bit further. Another guy stops him and says, you both should be riding the mule. Why does one of you walk and the other one ride? Both of you ride. The grandson gets up and they're both riding. They go a little bit further. Another guy stops him and he says, why are you two on the mule? You should be walking along with the mule. So they both get off and they walk along with the mule. Another guy stops him. He says, you two should be carrying the mule. Why should the mule have to walk to market? You two should carry it. So grandson, grandfather pick up the mule and they're walking across a railroad bridge and they slip and they lose their grip of the mule. The mule falls off the bridge into the river and drowns. And the moral of the story is when you try to help or try to do what everybody says, all you're going to do is lose your ass in the process.